For those of you who are 40 or older, specifically women who may have been active athletes, working out for most of your life or all of your life, and you are starting to go into menopause early or whatever, and you are, really starting to deal with the challenges that menopause hands to women, and how devastating it can be, how overwhelming it can be. Us men don't even have a clue. I want to talk today. I'm going to have a little discussion with Rosemarie, my wife, because she is someone who has really been incredibly courageous and challenged for years. She finally, in the last couple of years, has made a breakthrough in getting a handle on the process of menopause. So I'm here to ask her a few questions about her story, and maybe it will help you out there who are really want to continue to be active, work out, train your body, be physically and functionally fit, but menopause is overwhelming you. Hi, Rosemarie.
Hello.
So this is the first time we've done this, okay? It's my first time, it's Rosie's first time. So I created some specific questions to ask Rosemarie that I think will maybe beneficial for you guys that pay attention to this. Particularly, I'm really talking to women out here that are 40 and over, maybe even in your 30s. You might be perimenopausal already. Even men, we could certainly stand to have our eyes opened more to the challenges that women deal with as they enter menopause and going through it. So anyway, thanks for doing this.
Sure, no problem.
And I know it's your Saturday afternoon, so thank you so much.
Okay. Hit me up with your questions.
Okay, so we're going to get right to it. So the first question I have is, how did being perimenopausal, affect your desire to really want to keep doing the things that you were doing? Like you were dancing and you were going to the gym and working out. Yeah. You want to give us a little bit about how perimenopause kind of started affecting you?
Sure. So just a quick background. What happens to all of us as women is that each one of us goes through our challenges at different times. Some women have their babies later, some have them early. I was fortunate to have mine in my 20s. But the later women have their children, menopause hits them differently and harder and at different times. So there is no blanket set remedy for anybody going through all the challenges. And not every woman will have all the challenges, and some of the women will have all of them, and others will have a few. For me, I was very active pretty much all of my life. As a teenager, 20s, 30s, etc., even after I had a family, I was very busy. It's true, I was a tap dancer, I was an African dancer, I did my cardio by drumming. I was a very physically active human being, as well as participating and going to different gyms. I was doing all kinds of things, going for walks, riding my bike. I was very, very active. I went through perimenopause earlier than most, so mine hit me at 39. And that's actually very early for a lot of women, but it happened to hit me quite early. And I only had 2 or 3 of the symptoms. However, what happened to me is that by the time I was in my mid-40s, I was already gaining weight, but I had not increased my eating habits. I had not increased my calorie intake. I was still trying to keep up with exercising and doing things, but none of that helped. I just found myself ballooning. I became swollen. I was diagnosed with edema, which, if you don't know, is a swelling of the lower limbs, ankles, body, and it was very difficult to keep up.
Yeah, I know I can vividly remember how.
And it was very frustrating.
Swelling,
so what
really.
People don't want to realize is that, yes, it hits you physically, but then it messes with your head. It makes you feel things that you never thought you would feel before. It creates anxiety. It creates moments of these rushes of anger, and it comes from nowhere. Nobody has to do anything to you, and it will rush at you at the weirdest times, and you don't even know why it's happening. So it's not just physical, it's mental. Now, a picture.
Well, just not to cut you off, but you mentioned like in your late 30s, 39, you had like 2 or 3 of the symptoms.
Yeah.
Do you recall what those were, the 2 or 3 symptoms?
So in my late 30s, what was happening is that my menstruation was lasting anywhere from 30 to 60 days. I wasn't used to that. I was used to 5 days, boom, done, and I was active and moving forward. But when you're losing that much iron in your body, even though you're taking in the calories you need to do your exercises, to go to the gym and do things, you become fatigued. You become tired. Then what does that cause? You become grumpy. You're not as patient. And if you have young ones, it's worse because now you're with children, you're raising kids, you have a spouse, you know this is not who you are, but it affects you not just, like I said, it's physical, but it's emotional, it's mental, it's a variety of things. And I'll tell you, the status quo for me from the doctors was eat less, exercise more. And that was not a remedy that was helping me. Because it made me not want to exercise, because when I did exercise, I got nowhere. What happens is when you don't see any benefits, you tend to want to pull back.
Right.
Because then you're thinking, I'm fatigued, I'm tired. Well, it goes deeper than that, and I'll address that in another question.
Yeah. Well, okay, so my next question then is, did you have muscle loss and loss of strength? Did you...
Now, that's actually a very good question, because I thought that I had less strength. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize. I thought I had less strength because I had been carrying my body. I'm a small. My bone structure is tiny. I'm a small person. I don't come from a large family in general, anyway. And I was carrying around so much weight. That weight bore down on my tendons, my ligaments, my bones. And by doing that, I found myself getting injured in ways I had never been injured before. Mm-hmm. I tore my meniscus, my knee, I had hurt my shoulders, things like that normally, A, if I had an injury, I would bounce back faster. B, I could do just about anything. But what I learned as I was going back into exercise is that actually from my waist down, I actually was stronger than I thought. Mm-hmm. I thought I wasn't able to lift things. That was a falsehood. I actually had body strength from the waist down. It was my upper body that I became weaker. It didn't help that I have arthritis in my wrists and other parts of my joints, but you're going to ask a question about the joint pain too.
No. Well, yeah, but what I was going to say is I know you mentioned gaining the weight gain. What I know is you went through a lot of iterations to try and address the weight gain.
Yeah.
You dealt with...
I started doing all kinds of things around 42. Remember,
I was doing like on various
I was
like
on
weight
these
loss things.
Weight loss programs. So I tried Weight Watchers. Then I tried something online. I forgot the name of that one. I tried Optavia. I tried this local group that we all got together to talk about it. Did nothing to help. I'm a Kaiser patient, and I had someone at Kaiser talking to me, a nutrition person. That did no good to me, didn't help me at all. Then I tried probiotic, that didn't help. I tried metabolic, that didn't help. I noticed that I had been trying all these different ways. I joined Curves, I joined different programs at the gym. I went to Zumba. I was doing Zumba 2-3 times a week and on the weekends. I was doing anything possible to increase my metabolism. What I have learned since then is the reason none of these things worked is because I never got to the root problem.
Right. And now when you were in your I noticed that you seem like some things would work for a little short while.
Yeah.
While you were in your 40s.
Yeah, I did ACG shots, remember?
Right. And that was kind of working for you for a while in your 40s. But what I saw as being a bystander, watching you, your challenges, once you hit your 50s is when menopause, it's like the things that you were doing just really had no impact. The menopause really hit you with the weight gain around, which would lead me to my next question. Okay, did you experience increased body fat, especially around your midsection?
Yeah, so that's one of the things I wanted to say. The root cause of all of these things is a misbalanced or a misunderstanding of, in our female bodies, how many different hormones we have that aren't addressed. I can't speak for a man and how many different hormones a man would have and what causes the weight gain or the inflexibility or whatever. I can only say for me, what I have learned is that once I learned about my imbalance of my vitamin D intake, that my thyroid wasn't working properly, my pituitary gland and my thyroid weren't speaking to each other. The high levels of stress, and there's many kinds of stress that women have. We put stress on ourselves, but in generally speaking, even certain exercises, wake up call. I thought that if I power walked, if I did all these cardio things, that it was going to help me lose weight, but it didn't. What it did is it created my body to go in stress mode. Then the stress mode created something, increased my cortisol. In women, when we increase our cortisol, the first thing it does is it attacks the belly area because that's the area that we carry our children. And that's the area that our bodies want to protect because that's where our women organs are. So common sense tells us this, but guess what? Nobody actually tells us. So what happened is for me is that my stress level was high only because I created that for myself, not knowing. You have a question about sleep, but that's another thing. If you're not sleeping enough, that creates your body in stress mode. Stress mode creates cortisol. Cortisol makes your body hold the fat for protection.
So when you were specifically like in your 50s, when you were reaching out to Western medicine, what was typically their response?
Most of the time,
on your checkups and so
I'll just tell you, most of the time I felt shamed. I felt like it was my fault. I wasn't told that there were solutions, that there were things that I could do. I was just told that I needed to pay attention to what I was eating, that I was going through the change, and that was to be expected. Instead, I think a better approach would have been finding ways. Yes, so what if I was going through menopause? But did that mean I was going to stop living my life, that I was going to stop feeling healthy, that I was going to stop being able to wear the clothes I was used to wearing and feeling good? But I'll tell you, if you have edema issues and you are swollen at the end of the day, it is not just because you're taking sodium or salt. It's more than that. Cutting out salt, now granted there are many kinds of salt, but actually sodium, good sodium, helps the cells attract good water cells into your body, which you need to burn the fat that is holding in your system from the cortisol. So it sounds crazy, but it depends on what you do.
You're saying you actually need good salt.
You need good
in your body.
Yes, and it cannot be pasteurized. It can't be processed.
Processed.
I meant processed. You need to have good salt. Now, I found companies online that don't process the salt, and that's what I started doing little bits. And I started using little bits right before I would drink my 20 ounces of water. That's the other thing that they don't always tell you. They might tell you drink water, but they don't tell you drink half your weight in water. So if you're 200 pounds, in the course of a day, you need to be drinking 60 to 80, maybe 100 ounces of water. Now, if you're properly eating, your body will take what it needs, flush out all the bad stuff, and replenish the good stuff. Can
I interrupt you? I just want to take you back a little bit first. And So you've really given a pretty detailed accounting of the physical challenges that come upon you that came upon you, but kind of take us through as you were in your 50s, and this is what I observed, is emotionally the toll that it began to take on you. Where did you find yourself emotionally, mentally, sometimes in trying to, deal with these challenges?
It's such a heavy question. So I began to not look in the mirror.
Yeah.
I would get up and I'm in education, so I would get up early and prepare my day to get to work, to school, and I have a style in my style of dress, and what I would do is cover up. I would wear things to mask how I looked because of how I felt about how I looked, and it was really debilitating. Sometimes it would make me so frustrated that I would eat things I shouldn't eat only because it was a way for me to handle my emotional ineptitude. So I love ice cream. So I would buy Ben and Jerry's and eat the whole thing. And then I would feel so good that while I was eating it. And then the next day I felt crap about it. Mm-hmm. And so what I'll tell you, it messes with your self-esteem. When I would get up in the morning, I would try really hard to get ready without looking in the mirror. And the other thing that's huge and I'm into photography big time. You know that. Mm-hmm. And so what I would do is make sure that I was doing the picture taking. So I noticed in my 50s, and that was some years ago, I would say in 2011, that when we were at the high school graduation for one of our kids, I made sure I wasn't in the pictures.
You started, because
I was
of your weight
avoiding
gain.
the pictures. People would take pictures and I wouldn't be in them. I would be behind the camera, or I would be dodging, or I would be hiding behind somebody. You might see my face, but you wouldn't see the rest of me. And I didn't realize I was doing that, but I was doing that. And unfortunately, it got to the point where it was happening all the time. It happened in 2015 with the other graduation, and it kept happening. The more events I went to, the more I realized that I was hiding. I was always putting myself in the background rather than being the person. And then when I saw pictures later of myself, I would be embarrassed, and I would not want them on social media. I would not want to have them made and put them in frames. And
well, I know there were times that you were really dealing with being kind of depressed as well.
Yeah. I mean, it's my depression was different than other kind of diagnosis of depression. For me, I just became more introverted and quiet. Didn't do a lot of talking about how I was feeling. I carried a lot of this stuff around with me. It was very difficult for me to sometimes get up in the morning and make movement.
I know you mentioned
and
that
I'm a
sometimes.
morning person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there have been some weekends that Saturday would come and I wouldn't even get out of bed till 12 o'clock, and that's totally not like me. Mm-hmm. But yes, the doctors wanted to prescribe certain types of antidepressants for me. I stayed away from that. I didn't accept that. I don't know, maybe I should have. I didn't. Other people were taking them and seemed like it was working for them. I didn't go that route. But so emotionally, it was a roller coaster, and I never knew emotionally where my feelings were coming from. And that's a hard thing, is if you know this happened and this happened, I'm frustrated about that. Then you can own it,
right? And
then you can say, and feel it, and then move through it. But when you don't know where it's coming from, and it just hits you, it's confusing.
I remember how you felt very
alone.
Yes, alone and out of you felt that immense loss of control, like you had no power over things, over this whole process. Let's go back to I vividly remember this, the impact on your sleep the sleep disturbances. What was that about? Can you be a little specific about that?
One of the things that is difficult, and for anybody out there that's a parent, mother, I can't speak for fathers because they didn't carry the baby, but I used to be able to sleep standing up, laying down, hard surface. I could do sleep pretty much anywhere. In an airport, nothing bothered me. I could sleep through noise. However, once I became a mom, and this is where the confusion came up for me, is that once you become a mom, like myself, you're sleeping, but your ears are always listening for that baby, that child. What happened through menopause, though, and this is the difference, is that it wasn't necessarily the noise. Anything could wake me up, or I would be awoke probably 2 in the morning, 3, and then I couldn't go back to sleep. Then I was awake, and I still had to get up at 6:30, get up and go to work and deal with other people's teenagers in my classroom. Made it very difficult for me to stay calm.
Well, yeah, and also
it lasted for years.
I know
that's the thing it didn't go away. It's not like when the little one gets to be 6, they're sleeping through the night, you're not listening.
Right.
Then you're sleeping, it's okay. But to get 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, the hot flashes in the middle of the night, I would be drenched in sweat. The pillow would be soaking wet. I felt like I was on fire, and it was terrible.
The thing is, if you're not getting the rest you need, if your body isn't able to sleep, there's no way in hell, amongst all the other things, that you can get up and expect to do any kind of physical activity.
Well, I was just going to say, try making your plan of your day. Like I had a trainer, not you at that time, but right. I had a trainer, and I would get up. Before all this hit me, I would be up at 5. I'd go do my training, come home, shower, get kids ready, go to work. I'd teach, get them do their thing. I mean, I had a full day. I never had a boring day. But when I went through this, what would happen is I'd have good intentions. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to take this class, this dance class, or whatever it was. I'm going to meet so-and-so down at the waterfront. I'm going to go for a walk. I would have these plans, and then I would barely get through my day. I would get up and go, oh my gosh, I have to survive my classroom. I can't take this out on these kids. It's not their fault. Mm-hmm. So I would hold it in all day. And, I'd be gone with, dealing with this for 8 hours, 7, 8 hours, or whatever it was, and then have my own child to deal with in hours. And then I would think, oh, I got an hour in here. All I'd want to do was close my eyes in the car, just enough to calm my mind, and then the headaches. That's the other thing. Because I wasn't sleeping, because I was heavy and I didn't want to be, then I would get headaches. I never had headaches on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And they were coming all the time.
Right.
It's because I wasn't getting enough sleep, and it's just debilitating. And then I have to come home and I'm cooking dinner and I still got to clean my house. I was thinking about all the stuff that I had to do, and it was all I could do to hold it together without losing my mind.
Right.
And that's why I'm telling you, yes, I could be, yes, I'm driven. I can go do this. I've got it. And then I'd come to do it. I'm like, you know what? I'm home now. I do not want to change my clothes.
Yeah.
I just want to put my sweats on and stay home.
Right.
And that was not me.
I know. Well, talk a little bit about the one thing I know that really stands out is the joint pain that you are having.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. So, I'm going to speak back to this.
You had put on a lot of weight.
And that was part of the problem,
right?
But here's the thing. It goes back to what I said before. There are different kinds of hormones that we have that men don't have, okay? We have them, and if you don't have estrogen in your system, estrogen in itself keeps us supple, keeps us flexible. Just by nature, being a woman, we end up being more flexible than you guys. Mm-hmm. We just do, okay? And yoga helps, but if you don't have any estrogen in your system, your body's not making it at all, things start happening to your body. Your body starts shutting down in ways that you're not aware of, but you will say, oh, my fingers hurt. Oh, my ankles, and I I have injuries due to sports, and so I was doing pretty well without having pain.
But I know your knees were really a major
And
cause.
my
especially.
knees were bothering me. I have right hip dysplasia after childbirth years ago, and I kept it in check until menopause.
Now, can I ask you, if you don't mind saying, because like early on, when we were together, you were generally maybe 135, 138 pounds.
Yeah, so I would say...
But at the peak of your struggle with menopause...
So my normal weight that I should... Let's go with normal. So getting all the stats. I said earlier, I'm small boned. Okay, I used to be 5'6.5" ish. I'm now 5'5". Obviously that happens as we age, right? So I'm 5'5". And generally speaking, so through my 20s, 30s, and even as early as like 41 or 2, I ranged between 130 and 138, somewhere in there. But as soon as I hit like 42-ish, my weight shot up to about 165, 170. And even then, that was a little bit much. I was able to manage okay. But what happened literally at the end...
When you were at the peak, you were really of your struggle.
That would have been like a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm. A couple of years ago.
Yeah, so during COVID, I noticed that I had gained a lot of weight. So I was actually 236 or 237.
Oh, was it that much?
Yeah, so I was about 237.
Oh my gosh.
And that's not
heavy.
like me, but I could tell because my face was very full and heavy and my ankles were swollen. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
They were swollen all the time. My knees were swollen all the time. I just was really, my back, you could tell that I was just carrying a lot of weight. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I have to do something. And then I began to look at other programs. Nothing really happened for me. And then...
then the
miracle
I
happened.
know, yeah. So we're gonna keep that.
That's a little secret.
That's gonna be part 2. But
so you have to wait for that, because I will tell you.
We're gonna come back to that one.
I will tell you the company.
No, don't tell them anything. No, I gotta give it to you, Rosie.
I'm tenacious.
You kept deciding you weren't gonna settle for what the Western medicine was telling you. Oh, you just gotta accept it. It's menopause. Such bullshit. You kept searching. You kept, leaning into finding, a way to get a handle on it. I commend you so much and respect you so much for that. And she finally found the blueprint. But you're going to have to stay tuned for that. I'll put another video out for that one. But basically now, where are you?
Actually, I'm still with my team. We'll talk about that later. So I still get support from my team, and I definitely have. I will tell you this. Even though I've done a lot of work, I started this process February of 2024. So just so you know,
and don't give away anything.
I'm not. However, where I'm at now, I just want to say there are moments when it's easy to fall back. That's the thing. It can happen where there are times I might eat something I shouldn't eat, and I pay a price for that. So it doesn't mean that some of who we are as people just goes away. It's just going to be there. But for me in general, like where I'm at right now, I'm about 139-ish. I say that because some weeks it's 136, sometimes it's 139, maybe 140. It goes up and down. That's not what the key, though, that's important to me. What's important to me is that I have lost over 100 inches from my neck to my ankles. That's the first thing. Number 2, my edema for my body is 100% gone. Number 3, my A1C dropped, so it's at a healthy level. Number 4, my triglycerides have dropped 29 points. All the things that help us live a long, healthy life have been able to get managed in a healthy way. So what does that do for me? It improves my thought, how I view myself, how I think about myself. I've been able to help other people. When they ask me, I just say, oh, and I tell them, and I eat better and I exercise. But I also have this person right here.
So now you're starting to now go back and actually be in a position where you can actually exercise and train your body now.
Yeah, and I keep track of, and I keep track of my steps. And I also pay attention to the kind of exercise I do. I don't feel the need to power walk anymore. I realize now that is not going to keep the cortisol away. But doing some kind of activity helps me get to stay where I'm at. Now, I also do a lot of upper body strength movements now, and I don't have injury. That's the key. Like my elbows don't hurt. I can do the exercises and I don't have any pain.
And also
and my hips don't hurt.
You have sort of followed up on because I was saying to you that as we age, strength training actually is a priority over walking, over your your endurance or your heart or whatever. That you've actually bought into that, and you're starting to actually incorporate strength training into your activities, so that because you've noticed that it actually does make a difference, and you've been reading and seeing that, in fact, the science backs that up.
All of it, 100%.
Yeah.
So my journey is not over. It is just, I see it as a new beginning, and so now I don't shy away from it, and if I have questions, I ask. And
well, that's the thing, and I think that there are a few people. I was just online earlier today on YouTube. There's a lady, for the first time, I've never seen her before. She is talking about strength training for women in menopause. And I actually saved her site because you don't see it. And, men, we have our own challenges. It's so important for us to really be focused, provide time, thought, and energy to maintaining this vessel, keeping it strong and mobile.
That's right.
So that we can have independence and autonomy as we age. And so little is given to the challenge that is huge, the huge elephant in women's lives, which is menopause. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you about it.
I call it the beast.
It is. From what I've seen, men don't know.
And I didn't invite it. That's the thing I will tell you. We don't invite it into our system, into our body, into our world. We don't invite it. It comes uninvited.
Yeah.
And so it's important to recognize that there are some tools. And if you can balance all the parts of it, first and foremost is you need to find out what hormones in your body are not balanced and get that handled.
Which leads me to the conclusion of this. What I'm going to say is I'm going to ask Rosie to come on here again and talk specifically about the arc of when she found this incredible group of women and where they took her, the journey they took her on for her to be able to accomplish the things she's been able to accomplish. And I'm going to ask her to come back and talk about those things. But I think we'll stop it here. And I just want to thank you very much for coming on, Rosie.
Yep.
And that's it, guys. I really hope that this is beneficial for a lot of women out there, whoever pays attention to me. Hopefully this can be uplifting for you, inspiring, and that you know that there are options out there, not to give up. And that's all I gotta say about that. You guys take care.